Let's talk about what BMW put under the hood. Despite the overt attempts to link it to the 2002 turbo of the 1970s, the M2 utilizes a single-turbocharged inline-six displacing 3.0 liters instead of its distant ancestor's turbo inline-four. For the die-hard BMW fans, the designation of said inline-six is N55B30T0, and it features the whole suite of advanced engine systems the company can throw at the thing. The turbocharger is a twin-scroll unit, and the engine features direct injection, Double-VANOS variable cam timing, and Valvetronic fully variable valve lift. Like all Valvetronic-equipped engines, it doesn't use a throttle plate in normal operation and relies on fully variable lift to control the air supply. Compression is 10.2 to 1, and peak power, 365 horsepower, is achieved at 6,500 revolutions per minute. Like most modern turbocharged BMWs, the torque curve is fatter than an in-and-out double-double, animal style. 343 pounds-to-foot is available from 1,400 revolutions per minute to within a grand of the horsepower peak, 5,560 revolutions per minute, and it feels like that. The torque curve looks like a classic Southwestern mesa, steep on the sides, flat as a table on top. The M2's suspension bits are primarily aluminum, fitted with M-specific stiff bushings. It's worth noting that BMW told us that the M adaptive suspension is not available, even as an option, on the 2016 M2, although you can fit them to the M235i and the M3/M4. Judging by the calibration and capabilities of the traditional dampers on the M2s we tested, that shouldn't be an issue. By the way, weight balance is very near 50-50 with either transmission, and the manual-equipped car weighs in at 3,450 pounds. The DCT option is a 55 pounds weight penalty. The steering is electrically assisted, and that means there are good aspects and less good ones. When we first drove the M3 sedan, for example, we were frustrated by the artificial weighting and lack of feedback from the steering wheel. Without an M3 or M4 on hand to directly compare, and having last driven one several months before, it seemed to this reviewer that the M2 has partially transcended the steering issue. You can't describe the steering as alive in your hands with a straight face, but the accuracy is prescient and the weight perfect throughout the lock-to-lock range. There's also enough communication coming through the seat bottom about what the chassis is doing to pick up the slack for the EPS in most situations we encountered. This is a good sign that engineers are finally overcoming EPS's major drawbacks. The assist in the C7 Corvette is another. Hopefully the next generation racks will address the feedback issue, too. In every situation we put it in, the M2 nailed the killer balance between body control and communicative role. There's just enough body motion to signal to the driver what's going on. Load up the suspension and crank it over, and the weight transfer is smooth. The ride is firm, but not crashy. This could be a daily driver nearly anywhere. With forgiving handling characteristics and tons of torque, it suffers fools gladly and also rewards those who want to probe its limits. A quick caveat, that drift mode? We didn't get to sample it on this drive. One more caveat, we were only allowed to drive the manual on the street, and only the DCT on the track. This plays to their natural strengths, but made it harder to evaluate how either version fully performs in all situations. I have no doubt the manual version would be rewarding on track, rev matching or no, but for those eyeballing the DCT, I wish I could tell you if it's a hassle in normal street use. Judging by how much more well-behaved these transmissions are in general, and in BMWs, in recent years, and how well it worked in the M3, there's no reason to assume it'd be much different. If you feel that the M3 and M4 have outgrown their place in the lineup as lithe, compact sports sedans and coupes, becoming instead brutally quick, heavy, comfortable bruisers, the M2 might be your jam. It feels right-sized, it has the moves, it makes glorious noises from a proper inline-six, albeit turbocharged, and it looks every bit the part. Its wheelbase is only 5 inches longer than an E30. By the way, were you wondering if this review would wrap up without mentioning that storage chassis code? And a tenth longer than the E36. Have you been following along with your checklist? Are all the boxes ticked? We thought so.